Most of your last month is already gone, and you didn't even notice it disappear. I have a challenge for you. Try to remember 5 specific things that happened last month. 5 actual moments, something someone said, a place you went. Most people can't do it. They remember a problem, a message, maybe one random day, but the rest is gone. 30 days of life turned into a blur. That blank space is where your life is disappearing. And maybe it has nothing to do with having a bad memory. It might just be the way your soul is working. People say it all the time. I can't believe it's already June. I don't even know where the time went. But what they really mean is, I lived through it, but I don't feel like I was truly there. Because the mind counts dates. The soul counts moments of truth. A whole month can feel empty if nothing meaningful happened inside it. But 1 hour can stay with you forever if it contains love, grief, forgiveness, honesty, or a decision that changes everything. That is why some childhood memories feel bigger than entire recent years. It is not just nostalgia. You were fully inside those moments. You were not rushing through them. You were not mentally somewhere else. You were there, and maybe time feels so fast now because too many moments pass through you without ever entering you. Have you ever noticed how the worst moments of your life never feel fast while they are happening? A normal week can vanish like nothing, but one painful conversation can feel like it lasted for hours. One night of fear can feel longer than an entire month. One moment where you're waiting for an answer, waiting for a call, waiting for something to be okay again, suddenly, time stops acting normal. And this is important because it proves something most people miss. Your soul knows how to be fully present. It has already done it. The problem is, most people only become completely present when life forces them to be. When pain enters the room, you stop rushing. When fear hits, you stop drifting. When something matters deeply, every second becomes sharp. But that means presence is not gone from you. It is just being unlocked by the wrong things. Pain should not be the only thing powerful enough to bring you back into your own life. Because if your soul can fully show up during heartbreak, fear, grief, pressure, or uncertainty, then full presence is possible without waiting for life to shake you awake. The same depth that appears in your hardest moments can exist in ordinary ones too. You just forgot that a normal day is still your life. And maybe that is why time feels so strange now. The painful moments stretch because you are completely there, while the peaceful moments disappear because you barely enter them. There is another reason life starts feeling like it is speeding up, and it is not just spiritual. Your brain literally pays less attention to things it has already seen too many times. When something is new, your mind wakes up. It records more detail. It notices the room, the faces, the feeling, the small changes, the things that make that moment different. But when your day looks exactly like yesterday, your brain starts treating it like old information. It does not need to study it anymore, so it gives it less energy. That is why routine can feel so dangerous without you realizing it. It is not just that life becomes boring. It is that repeated days leave behind less evidence that they ever happened. Same route, same thoughts, same pressure, same conversations, same emotional pattern. After a while, your brain stops filming the day in detail and starts giving you the short version. Then you look back and wonder why the whole year feels like it had no weight. A familiar life can pass faster than a painful one because pain demands your attention while routine quietly steals it. This is why childhood can feel huge. So much was new. A street felt like a world. A room felt like a universe. A small event felt massive because your mind had not learned to skip over it yet. But now, if every day has the same shape, your life starts losing its edges. But the point of this is not to make you panic about time, or make you afraid of getting older, or make you sit there grieving every month you cannot fully remember. That would just be another way to waste the moment you still have. The deeper message is this: even if the year has been moving fast, it is not ruined. Even if you have been distracted, absent, rushed, or emotionally far away from your own life, this season can still become sacred the moment you start entering it honestly. A year does not need to begin perfectly to end with meaning. A life does not need to make complete sense before it becomes powerful. You do not need to recover every lost moment to stop abandoning the ones that are still in front of you. Time is not the enemy. Unlived life is the enemy. Because time will pass either way. The question is whether it passes through a version of you that is awake enough to feel it. And maybe that is the real shift. Not slowing the clock, but becoming present enough that your days finally have weight again. There is a reason time felt different when you were younger. It was not only because you had fewer responsibilities, it was because life still had wonder in it. A single afternoon could feel huge. A walk could become an adventure. A small moment could stay in your mind for years because you had not yet decided that ordinary things were worthless. But as people grow up, they start believing only big things count. Big money, big achievements, big changes, big signs, big moments that prove life is finally becoming something. And while they wait for something massive, they miss the quiet things that were already trying to reach them. Wonder is not childish. Wonder is spiritual attention. It is the ability to be touched by something simple without needing it to impress you. It is noticing the way a certain conversation stays with you, the peace in a quiet morning, the strange beauty of a normal day that did not ask to be important. The soul does not need every day to be extraordinary. It needs you to stop treating ordinary things like they are nothing. Because when you demand that life constantly amazes you, most of life will feel empty. Some people keep saying life feels fast because they are busy, but being busy is not always the real problem. Sometimes the real problem is that your spirit is spread across too many things that have no sacred value. You can wake up already carrying 10 different lives in your head. What someone thinks of you, what you still need to fix, what you do not have yet, what someone else is doing better, what might go wrong, what you should have said, what you should have done, what you still need to become. And by the end of the day, you did a lot, answered a lot, thought about a lot, maybe even handled everything you were supposed to handle, but somehow you still feel like you did not actually live. That is spiritual leakage. Your energy went everywhere, but almost none of it went into the moment you were actually standing in. Your attention was divided between people who were not present, fears that had not happened, desires that were still far away, and problems that kept asking for more of your spirit than they deserved. And this is why time starts feeling thin. Not just fast, but thin. Because you can be moving all day and still be spiritually stuck. You can be active all day and still be disconnected from yourself. You can be surrounded by noise, messages, plans, people, and responsibilities and still feel like nothing real touched you. That is what scattered living does. It does not always destroy your life loudly. Sometimes it just makes everything feel weightless. You wake up, move, respond, handle, repeat, and then suddenly the day is gone. But because your spirit was split into too many places, none of those places received enough of you to become meaningful. And when the soul gets tired of living like this, it starts craving simplicity. Not because simplicity is boring, not because you need to become less ambitious, but because deep down, you know you were not created to be mentally everywhere except your own life. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is stop giving equal access to everything. Because not every worry deserves your devotion. Not every person deserves your inner space. Not every desire deserves your peace. And not every thought deserves to become the place where your life disappears. And now it's time for today's comment of the day. Freedom replaces the need to control how others move through their journey. Because trying to control people often comes from good intentions at first. You want to help, protect, prevent mistakes, speed things up. But eventually you realize everyone has their own timing, their own lessons, their own way of understanding things. And real freedom isn't just giving yourself permission to live your own life. It's giving other people permission to live theirs too, without forcing, without carrying, without needing everyone to move the way you would. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It just means you stop trying to steer. Thank you for sharing this. The trick is not to slow down your entire life at once. That is where people get overwhelmed. They think they need to change everything, escape everything, fix everything, and suddenly become this perfectly present person overnight. But that is just another form of pressure. And pressure is one of the reasons life started feeling fast in the first place. So do not start with your whole life. Start with one moment, one coffee, one walk, one hug, one conversation, one quiet minute before the day begins. One moment where you are not trying to improve anything, explain anything, prove anything, or rush into what comes next. And when that moment happens, consciously mark it inside yourself. I was here for this. That sounds simple, but it is powerful because the soul remembers what you enter on purpose. When you mark a moment, you stop letting it pass through you like everything else. You give it weight. You tell your spirit, this one belongs to me. Your life becomes sacred again when ordinary moments stop passing by unclaimed. And maybe that was the point from the beginning. Not to panic because last month disappeared. Not to fear that time is moving too fast. Not to sit there grieving every day you barely remember. The point is to realize you do not need to remember every single moment to stop your life from becoming a blur. You just need a few real moments that you fully lived on purpose. Because once you start doing that, something changes. A normal day does not feel so empty anymore. A small moment does not feel so worthless anymore. You begin to understand that life does not only become meaningful through big events, sometimes life becomes meaningful because you finally stopped abandoning the small ones. So tomorrow, when the day tries to pull you in every direction again, choose one small thing and actually enter it. Let it be simple. Let it be ordinary. Let it be something nobody else would even notice. But do not abandon it while it is happening, because time will keep moving. That part was never fully in your control, but presence is. And if you can honestly say, I was here for this, then that moment does not disappear. It becomes yours. When people say life is flying by, they are usually not just talking about time. They are not only afraid of getting older, or watching the calendar move, or realizing another birthday is coming, or seeing another year disappear before they were ready for it. The deeper fear is much more uncomfortable. It is the fear of reaching the end of a chapter and realizing you were there, but you were not really living it. You were loyal to the wrong things. You gave too much of yourself to situations that drained you. You stayed quiet when something in you wanted truth. You kept waiting for the right season to finally become honest with yourself, and then suddenly, the season passed. That is what hurts, not just that time moved, but that while it was moving, you may have been distracted by things that did not deserve you. You may have spent your sacred energy proving yourself to people who were never going to see you clearly. You may have been so focused on surviving the day that you forgot to actually enter the day. And then later, When everything is quiet, something inside you whispers, "Where did I go while all of that was happening?" That is the fear nobody wants to name. It is the fear of becoming someone who only understands their life after it is already gone. And that fear can feel heavy, but it is not evil. It is not here to destroy you. It is not here to make you hate yourself for what you missed. In a strange way, that fear is holy because it means something inside you still cares. Something inside you is still awake enough to notice that your life is not supposed to become a blur. There is something strange about the way people experience time, and once you understand this, the whole feeling of life is flying by starts to make more sense. There is the version of you that lives the moment, and then there is the version of you that looks back on it later. And those two versions of you are not always the same. The version of you that lives the moment is the one sitting in the room, having the conversation, walking down the street, eating the meal, hearing the rain, feeling the sunlight, standing in the middle of the day while life is actually happening. That version of you only has one job: to be there. But the version of you that looks back later is different. That version does not live the moment. It judges what was recorded. It looks for meaning. It tries to decide whether the day mattered, whether the week felt full, whether the year had weight. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. The version of you saying, "Time is flying by," is always the one looking back. But the one looking back was never the one living it. So if the version of you who was supposed to be present was distracted, rushed, numb, worried, or mentally somewhere else, then the version of you who looks back later has almost nothing to hold. It opens the memory of the month and finds only fragments. A few problems, a few tasks, a few random conversations, maybe one emotional moment that stood out. But the rest is fog. That is why you can be awake for all 365 days of a year and still feel like the year vanished. Because being awake is not the same as being present. Your body can attend every day of your life while your spirit barely signs its name on any of them. You can technically be there for the morning, the afternoon, the dinner, the conversation, the drive, the quiet moment before sleep, and still not fully enter any of it. Then later, when your remembering self tries to gather proof that you lived, it finds almost nothing with depth. You cannot remember a life you refused to fully enter. That is why some short moments stay forever, while whole months disappear. A 5-minute conversation can remain with you for 10 years because you were completely inside it. But an entire season can vanish because you kept moving through it like it was just something between where you were and where you wanted to be. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think they need more time. They think if life would just slow down, they would finally feel caught up. But more time does not help if you keep meeting it with the same divided spirit. Another year will come. Another month will pass. Another day will begin. And if you're not there for it, it will disappear the same way. The issue is not that life is refusing to give you enough moments. The issue is that too many moments are arriving and leaving without being claimed. That is why presence matters so much. Not as some soft idea people say because it sounds nice, but as the only way your soul leaves fingerprints on time. When you are truly inside a moment, something gets marked. Something gets stored deeper than the mind. You do not just remember what happened, you remember who you were while it happened. And maybe that is what your soul is really asking for now. Not a slower year, not a perfect life, not a way to rewind everything you missed, but a version of you who finally shows up while there is still something here to experience. And if you're still here, I genuinely appreciate you, because maybe something in this video reached the part of you that has been quietly feeling time slip away, but did not know how to say it. Maybe you did not need a warning today. Maybe you just needed a reminder that your life is still close enough to touch. You are not too late. You have not missed everything. And the days ahead do not have to disappear the same way the old ones did. Start small. Let one moment belong to you again. Let one ordinary part of your day become real enough to remember. Because time may keep moving, but that does not mean your life has to keep passing you by.